Hello everyone, welcome to the PredictWind Deauville race weather briefing. We're very thankful to PredictWind for sponsoring the race and providing this brilliant tool that we've been using all season to do our pre-race weather briefings. So thank you very much to them. All JOG members can get a 20% discount on PredictWind products. That's available through the My Benefits page of the JOG website. I really recommend it. And if you do win a class today, well done. The prize is a professional subscription to PredictWind for the year. So we'd also like to welcome our French friends from Deauville Yacht Club who will be hosting us at the other end. Just a quick reminder, there's a barbecue at the Island Sailing Club from 12 till 2 p.m. today. That's British summertime. There's then a dinner at Deauville Yacht Club at 6:30 p.m. French time on Friday. And then there's a prize giving and a buffet at Deauville Yacht Club at 11:30 French time on Saturday. Tickets for the barbecue and the dinner need to be booked through the JOG site for JOG people racing under JOG. Cool, we'll go straight into the weather. Let me just make sure I have my assistant, Will McGuff. Hi, Will. Can you hear me?
Hi, I'm here.
Cool. And you can see my synoptic chart. Sorry, well, I can't hear. Yeah, cool. Brilliant. So at the synoptic scale, what we have is a high pressure system that is sitting off the UK to the northwest. There's then immediately south of Ireland, a small low pressure system, and then there's a larger, more prominent low pressure system off Spain and Portugal. The net effect of all of that is that we're going to have really good easterly winds throughout the race as all these pressure systems interact, which is nice for us because often we find that we only have painful upwind or very light conditions. So this is really good. In terms of rain, it's unlikely to be any rain during our race. There may be some rain later on Friday. There's just some troughs and occluded fronts push through from the south. We can just see them appearing, these lighter patches of cloud here appearing over France. In the Solent, if we look at the wind map, so first start is around 5:30. So we can expect southeasterly winds, strength 8 to 10 knots, I think. I just bear in mind immediately off Cowes is possibly going to be a bit lighter than that, just with the shelter of the land. Getting into mid-channel, I expect easterly winds. I think the wind strength could be quite variable as we cross the channel. There's definitely some funneling of the wind going through the Dover Straits that is going to carry you down to our area of the race course. And I think we could see 12 to 15 knots, possibly up to 20 in terms of the sort of a stable wind, and then possibly gusts to 25. But to me, that seems quite strong looking at some of these forecasts, but we'll just have to wait and see. I think those stronger gusts will be evening time on Thursday, not necessarily into the night. Temperature is likely to be 12 to 14 degrees, possibly a bit colder with the wind chill during the night. Waves developing up to 1 meter from the northeast or east, just as this wind becomes more sustained and stronger blowing out of the Dover Straits. Just approaching the finish, just bear in mind, all the models are suggesting the wind can get really light off Deauville. And so I'd just be prepared for that, possibly 5 to 10 knots, maybe 7 knots. So just bear that in mind, especially as the tide, I think when most boats will be finishing, will be ebbing, and you need to get to the east of the finish mark. But I'm sure we'll talk about that later in the briefing. In terms of the course, our usual start line, off Gurnard, and then between the flagpole on the starting box, flying the JOG flag. Then avoiding the Isle of Wight, heading east through the forts, leaving Bembridge Ledge to starboard. It's really just going to be a passing mark, I think. Nothing really significant about it. And then the long leg across the channel, and then the finish line. So the finish line instructions are pass within 200 meters to the east of Le Samo Easterly Cardinal, heading from north to south, and when the buoy bears 270 degrees true, you have finished. Please take your own finishing time, as there will not be a finishing team at the finish line. What I'd like to do now is hand over to Will to talk about the details of the legs.
Thank you very much. So I'll start with the Solent leg. So it's a start against the tide. So I was going to talk to the other Will about that, but because you had 1821 as it fully turned in your notes, but I've got 1921. So as I read it, I think at the start it's going to be tide against. You've got to remember it turns first on the northern shore off Lyon Solent. So just looking through the tide, sort of at the main start, it will be probably a good knot and a half in the main channel against, but actually probably 0.2, 0.5 with on the northern shore. So my view would be start on starboard, head out as the routings are actually showing, and then go along the northern shore. The challenge is going to be is calling the ley line for the fort. Is not in the routing, but calling from the northern shore when to cross. But by the time you get to the forts, I would expect tide to be fully with across the course and pushing you east, and then should help you sweep you down, be sort of pretty much directly behind to Bembridge. So I don't think there's much more to say on that one, but yeah, it's sort of beat against proper beat, upwind, and then go north for the tide. Would be my suggestion. Now, the start itself, there may be an argument to go along the beach off Cowes initially to get before heading across, or maybe go straight across at Gurnard. It's going to be a question of how much wind there is off the Cowes beach versus the tidal relief you get in there versus getting across to the mainland shore quicker. It's all lots of different options. I'm not quite sure what's going to be best. Crossing the channel, I'm going to be honest, I think this is going to be very short from a tactical point of view, is work out your tidal offset and go in a straight line as fast as you possibly can. I think it's much more, that leg's going to be much more around boat speed, trimming, getting the right setup, outboard leads, etc., to make sure you keep the boat moving, especially through the night. Keep the helms, keep changing helms where possible, and keep focus. But I think from a tactical point of view, there's not much across the leg. The one thing that I think is worth thinking about the whole way across is, as the other Will said in the synoptic briefing, all the forecasts show it going very light as you get to the finish, with the land of sort of Le Havre. I'd expect that to probably be even lighter than shown in some of the models, just because of the wind direction. It's going to be very sheltered in there. So I wouldn't do depending on your timings, but I would make sure that I am up tide of the finish coming in. So if you're on the way across, be a little conservative with, we think it's going to be flowing east by the time you get to the finish. So putting a little bit more into, east to west, by the time you get into the finish. And just making sure whichever way the tide's going when the finish, because obviously it'll vary for different boat speeds, you're putting in some distance up tide so that you're not fighting the tide in the 5-10 knots near the end. And then the last comment I'd be just that could cause all sorts of problems on the way in as you're all tired is obviously you're crossing the channel for Le Havre. So it's going to be quite an interesting finish to that could be quite a busy stretch of water you're coming in through. So just keep aware, because avoiding the shipping with lots of notice won't cost you much. Having to do a crash tack or a last minute avoidance will cost you a lot of time. So with that said, is there any questions? Oh, there's one question. Okay, one question from Martin. Please bear in mind your finishing time must be BST. Be aware your phones may change to French local time, so 1 hour ahead. So please do that. And for the Osiris rating competitors, please follow the SIs and use the identity gate. That's it from me. Will.
Thank you very much. Just a few highlights from the sailing instructions. So as Will just said, there's no finishing team in place, so please take your own time. Don't forget to go through the identity gate, which is detailed in the sailing instructions, showing your sail number. If retiring or withdrawing, please call the race officer on mobile or VHF channel M137A. Don't forget to take your yacht papers with you and your passport. Do join the WhatsApp group from the link in the SIs, because there may be some last minute changes possibly. And in terms of paperwork for France, hopefully you've all completed the paperwork that Martin has asked you to. If you haven't, please do so. But key bits of paperwork, obviously your passport, the ship's papers. For UK boats, we need to complete the UK departure and arrival forms. And so that should cover all the bases. Thanks very much to Martin as well for sorting all the customs and border arrangements, so we don't have to all go to Le Havre to check in to France. It's appreciated. If there's any questions, please do raise them in the Q&A panel in your Zoom screen. We'll be very happy to answer them. I just add a few things on sales selection, which I've been thinking about. I think potentially on the cross-channel leg, there's an opportunity possibly to maybe get a tight reaching A sail up potentially, or a code 0 if it is either slightly further aft than forecast or lighter than forecast. So I'd definitely have them ready. I'd also just emphasize looking at the model coming into the finish. It could well be a downwind finish just with the wind curving around the land like that. So, and it would be a big spinnaker at that point. So be prepared to basically go through quite a lot of sails in this race. And if you have them ready, you've got a good chance of capitalizing where perhaps other people are feeling a bit sleepy and a bit slower to respond. If there's no more questions, Will and I are going to hang about for a few more minutes, but look forward to seeing you all firstly at the barbecue and then at the finish line and the dinner tomorrow night, and then the prize giving on Saturday. Thank you very much. So Will, why does your dad hate Deauville?
Long story before I go into it. Anyway, yeah, I can say you're all going off racing. I'm doing DIY this weekend. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting race. I do hope for you guys it doesn't go too light at the finish.
Yeah. Oh, there's a question.
Oh no, it's a thank you. Yeah, it should be quite.
Nice and quick, I hope.
Nice and quick. It's not the classic end up beating against the tide along the French coast you normally get for a Deauville race. Should also be quite quick for the Rourke fleet going the other way.
So, a question from Stuart of Screen 2. Any jib top action? I would honestly put my hand up and say I've never flown a jib top, so I don't know. But perhaps, Will, you can answer.
Having flown ours twice, I would say yes. I would be looking to put that up on the leg across. I think it will help. I don't know quite what yours is like, Stuart, because I find that the word jib top is quite a wide band for a lot of different sails, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm sort of looking at the forecast. I'd be expecting a beam reach, which is exactly where you'd be looking to use a jib top if it's not code 0 or flat reach, depending on wind speed and angles and things. It could be a lot of swapping between the two of them, Stuart, depending on what you get. Hope that helps.
Well, I think if there's no more questions, oh, there is one more question.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks everyone, and have Deauville, and sorry, have a good time going to Deauville. Enjoy the trip, and we'll see you for the next one for Yarmouth.
Brilliant. Thanks, Will. Cheers.
Cheers.